Get the likes up the 450. I gotta flip my phone. Hold on. There we go. All right. Anybody has a vertigo? This is not the live for you. Likes up the 450. This we're not having a tilted phone today. What's going on? What is going on? Why is this happening? I'm gonna have to hold it today. No way, no, upside down. Why is this happening? All right, this one's gonna be tilted a little bit. No, everybody. I don't want anybody to get a headache. No, it's fucking ridiculous. Oh my god. All right, y'all. Crazy special effects, yeah. It's like Fast and the Furious on this live today. No. No. All right, it's gonna be tilted. Okay, it's just whatever. All right, y'all. Welcome, 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 welcome. This is Ask Me Anything. You're here with the with me, Derek Ofadarungwa. I'm the host here on the Medicine Shell. David Hassan and Dewo, Creative Force and Dewo. Who else is in the house? We already got 9 people. Damn. Um. Wanted to talk about okay. Hey, man. Why? David Hassan, why? Why do you want to talk about okay there? All right, y'all. Where are we at? So, like I said, you guys, we're gonna start once we get let's do 15 people today. Straight to business. Oh, it sounds like you've been watching too much Nollywood. That's he said straight to business. Hey man, you've been watching too much Nollywood. Brazil is in the house. Duru keki man, nwanne madimma, ada Igbo, ada ala. Kedu ka ide. Brazil's in the house. Roberto, happy to see you. Kamo, happy to see you. Ndewo nwanne. Ndewo nwanne. Always good seeing your name. Ndewo, ndewo. The day oneers are in the house. We are at 10 people. Once we get to 15, we'll go ahead and start. Go ahead and hit that like button. We'll see where it's going today. We'll see where it's going today. I'm in the middle of editing my next video. I was actually thinking, should I just edit the video and do the live at the same time? Because I don't want to get tired and fall asleep afterwards. But if you guys see me put the headphones on, then you know that we're getting to business. Udo, udo, udo. We'll see if it's possible. We'll see if it's possible. Nde wonu. I saw a heart, so somebody approves of the movement. Ademma. Ademma. If you guys want to get a sneak peek of the next video, hold on. Ignore all the background stuff. There it is. Right? So you're going to see my face in this one. We're doing a whole new format for the videos. We're doing a whole new style for the videos going forward. So I can produce them faster and make it a little more engaging. All right, so once we get 4 more people in here, we're going to go ahead and start. This is Ask Me Anything. I'm here as long as you guys have questions. You can bring in any topic that you want. David Hassan wants to talk about Okeite, so we're going to talk about Okeite. But go ahead and Danielle, Ndewo, come on, Ndewo. All right, so we got one. If we need 1 more person in here to get started, take this link, put it on the group chat, put it on the WhatsApp, post it on Instagram, post it on TikTok, post it on Twitter. Make it let everybody know we need 1 more person. 1 more person in here, and we'll go ahead and guess. Now we need 3 more people. Now we need 3. The enemies of progress have left alive. The enemies of progress have left alive. Nde I woke up with questions. Hey, anyways, I trust you. I know. I trust you. I trust you. All right. So what? Where are we at? We are at 12. We need 3 more people to go ahead and get started. Take this, post this everywhere. So on TikTok, which they're trying to copy, when you click the little thing, it recommends it to more people. So I think maybe we can get this recommended more if you hit the heart button. Hit that heart button. Hit that heart button. Well, where's the click? Hold on. Hit that heart button. Or make the, how do you make, you ever play American? Okay. We're going to answer questions once we get one more person in the live. One more person in the live. We're going to go ahead and answer questions. If you got a dog, if you got a cat, if you got somebody that's got sensitive hearing, tell them to go somewhere because we're about to hit that bell. Or we need one more person in here. We'll go ahead and get started. One more. I'm blank today, so whatever topics you guys want to do, we can do it. But I'm in a very good mood, and I know we're gonna have a good discussion. Well, no, then there's the one I want to talk about on the topic. We have hit 15 people. He said we've hit 15 people. All right, and one. Let me go ahead and do the honors, and we'll go ahead and begin. All right. Okikekerua. Igwe bi n'eluigwe. Alawala. Ala nne mmadụ na nne mmụọ. Ala anyị siri bịa, ala anyị si elu. Ụmụ gị abịala. Ọ obiọma ka m ji na-ekele ụmụ ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ. Chukwu obiọma na-ekele ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Ejikwere m obiọma na-ekele ụmụ Ajana, Afrịka na ụmụ Ajana, America na ụmụ Ajana, Brazil na ụmụ Ajana, Europe, ndị nwere obiọma biko. ma ndị Igbo nọ na Asia, ma ndị Igbo nọ na South America, unu niile eji m obiọma na-ekele unu. Ana m ekele mmụọ na-esoro anyị na mmụọ a ga-afụ ebe anyị na-aga. Anyị jikwara obiọma na-aga, anyị ji ọfọ na-aga, anyị ji ogwu na-aga, anyị na-aga ije Chineke kere ka anyị gaa n'ụwa. Anyị ga-eji ike aga, anyị ga-eji uche aga, anyị ga-eji akụ aga, anyị ga-eji ụba aga, anyị ji ogwu, anyị ji ogwu, anyị ji ogwu. Ise. All right, let's go ahead and begin. All right, so the questions. The first question was David Hassan, who is about to go to prison, is asking me that he wants to talk about Okeite. Okeite is some fictitious, fake, Nollywood concocted BS that people who are of unscrupulous mind tend to ask DBS for. The big idea of Okeite is that you have a big pot with a bunch of things in it. And one of the things in it is human parts. And so if you put these human parts and all these things in it, you'll get magical powers, and those magical powers will make you rich. If there's such a thing as Okeite, Africa would not be a third world continent. So Okeite is fictitious Nollywood BS that was made up in Nollywood and it's not real, okay? But because most people hear about Odinala from the church and from Nollywood, they tend to think this is what it is. That is not what it is. You cannot put human parts in a pot and become rich. That is goofy. It's not real, okay? DBs are wonderful people, but a lot of them, are, let me put it this way. A lot of them will accept the BS that people are coming to them with, okay? So any DBA that tells you there's such a thing as that person's that person's not for real. I think that's even a good litmus test for if you should rely on a DBA or not. Okay, it is some Nollywood BS. It's like asking me, okay, we're talking about I don't know, we're talking about physics, and you go, okay, tell me about Count Dracula, right? Right? And but what if everything, or not physics, biology, but everything, or let's say 8 out of 10 people learn about biology from watching Halloween movies. So you're gonna get a couple of people that think Dracula. Okay, let me see what this Dracula guy is all about, right? That kind of thing. So Okeite is not real, but allegedly, and again, it's not real, that it's like a human sacrifice that makes you rich, right? It's not real. It's total BS. And Okeite is actually used to persecute Odinala people, right? It's used to, so they'll like just accuse people of doing it. Like, oh, this person did this thing, and then they'll raid them and destroy everything they have and chase them and arrest them and beat them and all. It happens a lot. It's something we're dealing with a lot right now, right? The governor of Anambra State lost his damn mind, and he's decided that Anambra is a Christian state, which it's not, and that he's banning all forms of Odinala. So they are persecuting people for following their own traditional beliefs. And one of the things they use is this myth of Okeite to justify the persecution. So Okeite is just some Nollywood BS. It's fake. It's not real. Um, and if we had better educated people doing Nollywood, you wouldn't even there wouldn't even be such a thing, right? Okay, they Count Dracula, they're all in the same category. So I'll do them up. I woke up with questions. Okay, I'm ready to hear them. Somebody asked if I ever played football. No, I never really got into football, like American football. Um, I didn't become athletic till college, right? I didn't become athletic till college, and I think I was always athletic, but I didn't understand like I didn't understand like competition as a kid. All right, I was non-competitive, and so once it clicked, right, which was I became a decent running back, but compared to a real running back, I'm probably just a guy that picked this up randomly at a late age. So no, I never got into. I never really liked football anyway, but I don't play American football. He said, not me catching the live. Hey, Isabel, ndewo. All right, good to see Angel and Isabel. Yes, yes. So that's not. We know we're gonna have a good live. You can't go wrong. It's manufactured crime. Yeah, it's just BS. Soludo is an active U.S. aid agent. Soludo is one of the most heinous, suspicious people you will ever encounter in the history of man. So I've unfortunately followed Nigerian politics my whole life, and Soludo has always been a rent seeker. He's allegedly an economist, but nobody can point to any of his works. And I don't know anything he's published. Maybe he's published something, right? Just your regular Abro politician. So now that people believe the myth and made him governor, which is unfortunate because Anambra has had like a streak of good governors. Like the worst Anambra governor has been at like would be considered a good governor in most other states in Nigeria. So now you get this person that's just dialing everything way back and just he doesn't have the process, the brain process to be a governor. And so he is doing this thing now where he's trying to make it illegal he's just going after Odinala, right? Underlying motive is because it's what's making the Biafra people strong in their eyes, right? It is. It's what's making the Biafra people hard to beat. And so they're saying, oh, okay, that's what they're doing. So let's go after it. He's also on marching orders from the church, right? But, I've been collaborating with a couple of gentlemen and we got something for his ass. We got something for his ass, right? Don't we're gonna win this one. Trust me, we're gonna win this one. We got something for his ass. We're cooking. We're cooking. But I don't know if you guys know Oziama Odinani. Ozioma Odinani and I were talking, and he's meeting with the government to petition against that situation. So I contributed what I can. I sent money for them to charter buses. So they got two buses and they drove over to the governors and really made a statement. And there's progress being made as far as repelling that thing. But we got something for his ass. We got something for his ass. So, but if you guys are interested in I told you guys a long time ago, working on like a legal defense fund for like practitioners and things like that. And so it's kind of it's moving already now. It's moving. Um, I usually like to unveil things when it's done, so it's hard for me to talk about this right now. But it's moving right now. We got like an A1 lawyer. And then once I'm ready to give you guys the details, I'll come and give the details. And anybody that wants to like donate and help the effort, we'll make it a thing. We're gonna have an official uh we're gonna we're gonna have an official discussion about this whole thing, but just not today. I'm not trying to do that today. But yes, active U.S. aid agent. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Oh, never mind. Okay. Shinita, Ndewo, been a while. Happy I can catch you live again. Super happy to have you here. And I know you've got topics you want to talk about, so I can just go ahead and guess, right? So whatever you got, I'm ready. I'll do my. I will do go one them keduki de. Why, Oma, keki man. He is so Manchurian. He got on voter apathy. Yeah, everybody's like, okay, I'm not from Anambra, but okay, APGA, APGA always wins. He becomes the APGA guy, and now we're stuck with this. You guys are stuck with this jackass. But they're trying to unveil what he's doing in Anambra. The church wants to do it all throughout Igbo land. A few lives ago, I talked about the fact that Odinala is on the rise, and the churches are empty. If there's somebody in church, it's like old women, right? Let me not say it's empty. It's just the older women and like some men, that kind of some older men. But the young people are not going, right? The young people are returning to their ancestors, they're returning to their original ways. So what they're trying to do now is they're trying to make it illegal to go to the river and do a prayer or anything. They're trying to make it illegal. One person was beaten for having cola nuts. Can you imagine? A young person was beaten in, I can't remember what city, but I'll say Onitsha in Anambra for having cola nuts. They're attacking, they're chasing DBs. They're saying that if you're a DBA and you're not from the states, that you have to leave and that kind of thing. And so they're trying to do that all throughout the state. It's a big fight, but we're ready for them. We're ready for them. And I'm going to appeal to you guys for some help when we're ready. Okay? Odemma. Can Duru perform his question and answer sessions live on stage? I would love to do that. Yeah, I would love to do that. But if you guys know how to make that happen, I'm stretched a little thin. So if you guys want to help make that happen, then yeah, I'd welcome it. I don't know if you guys are like booking, you guys know booking agents or anything like that, or if you guys are connected to any universities or anything like that. But if you guys want to, if somebody wants to kind of kick a door down, even just like prick it open a little bit, I'll do the rest. But I'm stretched thin right now. It's not something that I'm super focused on. But yeah, I would love to do it live on stage. I would love to travel. I'd love to move around and talk and do what I do in person, right? I'm getting tired of these damn screens. Christian Inquisition. Yep, they're launching an Inquisition against Igbo traditional practitioners because we are growing stronger and stronger by the day, right? My DB is in Anambra and he's trying to fight it in Anambra. Um, Diana, please, 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 please message me, message me so I can connect with your DBA. We're actually bringing together all of the people who are fighting it. You may be talking to somebody who's already in our group, right? But message me who it is. If he doesn't want to be, if he wants to be anonymous, that's fine too. But message me who it is because we got something going on and it's strong. It's very strong. Odemma. Alyssa, ndewo no. Hey, how you doing? Guys, I ain't seen one damn question except one person wanted to do okay, Ethan. Okay, poet dancer recently asked me to go on stage and drop some knowledge. Dope about if I ask Duru style Q&A is what came to my mind. That would be dope, yeah. Creative, I don't know if you can connect me to the person or what, but I feel like I anyways, let me leave that alone. But yeah. Just go ahead, go ahead. If you can make that happen, that'd be great. I'm all for it. I'd like to meet some of you guys in person, so I think that'd be fun. It's something that I've had in the back of my mind, but I've never made it a priority because I just haven't made it a priority yet. So if somebody wants to just prick the door open, I'll do the rest for them. Aw, okay, definitely giving your info is very humble and modest. Yeah. Tell them we're working on something, so we need more people. Now I'm not from Anambra, so to an extent, I'm playing like a. I'll just yeah, I'm listening more than I'm speaking. So I'll do. I have a very wise, knowledgeable DBA fighting this and on the Anambra. K Daniels. I don't know if you have my email address. My email address is in the description, I believe. If you can message me the name of your DBA, we're trying to everybody who's fighting it. We're trying to get them together. We're trying to move at us as united a front as we can as Igbo people, right? I've seen an Insibidi symbol for the concept of chi. Is there one for Eke? Eke is a spiral. Eke is a spiral, right? Eke is a spiral. That spiral is also akaraka. It's also the Python, and it's also Uwa, Eke, creation. So it's a spiral. Odemma. The instability for Chi was a recent, somebody recently made that though, right? Somebody recently made that though. It's people have accepted it, so that's what it is. Odemma. I have a very much okay. Odemma. Guys, looks like we don't have any questions or topics or anything today. I think nice little 20-minute live. I guess everybody just wanted to say hello, right? Christian Inquisition, but self-sustained. I mean, it's hard to call those people our self. Well, they're not our self, right? When somebody calls themselves your enemy, believe them. That's not us. Is there any significance in spring equinox in Igbo culture? Oh, such a good question. Are we in the spring equinox? So the spring equinox is the beginning of the year. It's the true beginning of the year. The reason I had the last live, I talked about the Igbo New Year, right? I talked about the African New Year, how on the second moon you see all of these things happen throughout the diaspora. You see masquerade events in on the continent. You see masquerade events in Brazil. You see masquerade events in New Orleans. They call it Mardi Gras. They see them all over the Caribbean and so forth, right? This is because our people celebrate the second moon as the true beginning of the year because all things must come in twos. And if all things must come in twos, then we have to have two moons before we can say that a year has begun. Okay. So the second moon, there's a lot of celebrating. That means the year has come and it's here to stay, right? Um, the what was the question you asked? It was a really good one. Spring equinox, yeah, March, that kind of thing. So I find it interesting that that second moon also correlates either the second moon or the third or the beginning of the third. But this general season also correlates with the equinox, right? So all of those things point to it being a more nature-based beginning of the year. About this time being the nature. Think about it, right? The flowers are blooming, right? Flowers are blooming. Those who are in temperate climates, the sun is coming back out, and that kind of thing, right? Like if you look at winter as a death, as a sort of a death, and then if you see, or in Nigeria they have Hamatan, it's a dry season, right? So if you see the dry season or the winter as a sort of death, and then you would have to then see the spring equinox or this time of the year, the second moon, as a rebirth, right? As the reincarnation, as Ilua, which then would be a more accurate beginning of the year. It's strange to have a beginning of the year in January, right? It's strange to have it in January. January is, you know, why? So I don't know. Maybe some guy named January said it has to be my month. So I don't know. But yeah, so we are in the official beginning of the year. We are in the official beginning of the year for our people, which is the second moon. Great idea, Igwe Buike. Yes, 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 100%. So, and everybody in the group is actually seeing this as a blessing because we're seeing a level of unity that, and a level of, because we've all been in our little silos getting this thing going. And then now that the attack has happened, we've come together, like that cartoon Voltron, right? We've come together like Voltron. And so, but we're looking for more people who are ready to fight, right? We're looking for more people who are ready to fight um, on all levels. On all levels. On all levels, but right, I want to dedicate a live to that topic. I kind of don't want to talk about it right now because that's just not where I'm at, right? It's not where I'm at. But I will dedicate, or not like a live, like a video to that topic and what we're doing and how you guys can help if you're interested in helping. But this is, I don't even see it as a bad thing, right? I don't even see it as a bad thing. I see it as something is rising and something is going, and that thing that's going is gonna fight its way. It's gonna fight its way out, right? And then it's gonna actually realize the thing it's fighting is way stronger than it, right? So we're working on. We got something for him right now. We got something for him right now, right? No, Soludo is trash. I knew when he won the governorship in Anambra, I knew it was downhill. I didn't know this was the direction he was gonna go, but I knew it was downhill because he's just like a rent seeker. Right? He's just like a rent seeker. He's like a for Americans just like a, scammer basically. I don't know. All right, let's go. For human perspective, from the human perspective, a photon from the Big Bang hits the human eye in the same instant as the Big Bang happened. Wow. Wow. From the photon's perspective, it took 13.4 billion slow years for it to human eye, for it to hit the human eye. That being said, for humans, there appears to be nothing new in the universe. So, from the perspective of Arishi, the universe could, and the universe, could a human who invents or masters an activity that seems new become an Arishi of that thing or post mortem? Yeah, absolutely. 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 Yeah, absolutely. So, because if you think of what Arishi works means, Arishi is the source of works, the source of a power, the source of something, the spring by which something comes out of, right? Arishi and Abba are different. Arishi is something that you use to channel an abara, right? To channel an energy, to channel a force, to channel an idea, right? Let's not separate abara from the concept of idea, right? Because we know that idea is uche. We know that uche is abia. We know that abia is anyangu. We know that it's all the same thing, right? So the person, the thing, the place that channels a certain thing to an extent becomes the Arishi of that thing. And you'll notice, like with a lot of like the ironsmithing guilds and the weaving guilds and all of the different crafts guilds and the masquerade societies and so forth, they venerate the person that brought that craft to their community. Be the same way anybody would venerate anything else, right? So the if the river is bringing you these works, or if a human being is bringing you these works, all of them are worthy of being given thanks. And if you want to do the work, right, you have to study the thing that was anointed or that was given the abia to share with the rest of the world. And if that thing shared it successfully, then that means they followed their awful. So if you want to understand the awful of that craft or that trade or that skill or that idea, you would align yourself with the life and the lifestyle and the will of the person that brought it into existence. Okay. Once you stem too far from the root of that thing that brought it to existence, the gift goes away. Everything falls apart, right? Things fall apart when the center can't hold, as Chinua Achebe said. And the center is the source where the thing came from. So yeah, that's why a lot of like in a lot of ATRs, a lot of the gods, as some people call them, are venerated ancestors because that person brought something specific and the community still needs that energy in the community and so forth, right? We do it in America too, right? Anytime somebody wants to invoke fairness, they bring up Martin Luther King. Anytime somebody wants to invoke the concept of discriminatory evil, they bring up Adolf Hitler. So we do it here. We do it here too. But that's like casual. There's a science to that. There's a science. It's not just you okay, that kind of thing. It's not just to say it, right? There's a specific way you approach the more. There's a specific ritual to keep that fire burning and that spirit alive, and then to embody it, right? To have it and come take over you, right? And that kind of thing. A lot can be learned by interplay with the spirit or more. So, more than more. Did you call equinox moacha? I didn't call the equinox moacha. I don't know the word for equinox in Igbo. So if somebody knows it, let me know. Ah, Ogechi. Ah, it's been a while. Is that new hair in the thing? I don't. Ogechi, it's been a while. It's been a while. I don't know. Janus is bogus. The year must begin in spring. Yes, exactly. The year must begin in spring or summer. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, nature begins in the spring. Nature comes anew in spring. So why would the new year be in the winter? You know, why would the new year be in the winter? That's kind of weird. So, you know what I think? I think that once, like a lot of the Eurasian calendars pulled themselves their months away from moons. So the months were originally moons, and then somebody decided maybe they wrote it down on a piece of paper, right? I've I've been talking a while about how right now, I think things are better transferred orally and carried orally than in writing. And I think that the confusion in like the Islamic and the Western calendars come from the writing, right? And let me explain. So if we are following the moons, the moon begins, the new moon, which is the new month, begins when the moon finishes its cycle and starts again, right? Which is a concrete universal fact that we can all see. Somebody now writes, oh, it's on March 3rd. And then that moon shifts. All of a sudden, it happens on the 5th. And then you say, okay, but the beginning of the thing, it says it on the paper. Instead of looking at the moon, you say it says it on the paper, it's the 3rd. And it keeps shifting and shifting and shifting and shifting. After a while, your calendar gets kind of funny, right? Things start happening in funny times, and that kind of thing. Nature is its own clock, right? Nature is its own clock. If you ever get a calendar, if you ever get a watch, it's just trying to mimic what's already happening in the sky. So just look at the sky, it's right there, right? But you got to go buy something brand new from the people who make it, and the people who make it got to convince you to buy it. So it's just a cycle. But I'm saying all that to say that I would I haven't looked into this, but I would not be surprised if New Year's was originally in the spring for a lot of the cultures that have New Year's in in January. And somehow, some way, that's shifted in a funny way. I was looking at the Islamic calendar maybe last year or so, and how Ramadan, or not Ramadan, but one of the something in that calendar had every year it's been shifting. So now, like as it's described in the Quran, the weather events are not, they don't match or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, just look at nature. Nature's already telling you what time it is. And if nature is saying this is the time that the flowers come back to life, this is the time that the plants turn green again, this is the time that the rain comes back, this is the time that the animals start mating, all the animals start mating, right? This is the time the birds come back, then obviously this is the beginning of something new. It's not in January where things are quiet and mimic the mimic death. So I'll never mind. Ben Brown Sr. says, keep fighting. I appreciate it. You guys giving all this support is what makes it possible for me to even put my hat into the fight. So thank you guys, seriously. I've recently come to understand that Chi and Eke, or physical man and self in relation to moi. Can you discuss Onyowa in relation to these concepts? Okay, all right. I've recently come to understand Chi and Eke, or physical manifestation of self, in relation to moi. Can you discuss Onyowa in these concepts? Okay. Hmm. Can I discuss Onyowa in these concepts? I'm trying to understand the question. Like, but let me put it this way. So if you understand Chineke, okay, Mo and Agun, or Mo and Onyowa, is another duality of that thing. Okay, Mo being more like the Chi, the Onyowa, the Agun being more like the Eke. That is why it is your Chi Owa. Chi Owa is one of the names for it. Okay, so it plays the same role in that duality, just breaks down again, that kind of thing. You'll find a lot of folklore about Mo and Agun, right? Mo and Agun, and it's usually repetitions, or they sound similar to the Chi and Eke stories, but they use the terms Mo and Agun instead. Okay, um, like there's one of them where Agun is tickling Mo. Where Agun keeps tickling Mo, and tickling has a sexual connotation back home. Where Agun keeps tickling Mo, and Mo is working on a project. And I'll tell that story when I'm ready. I don't have all the details yet, but it's a good one. But either way, Shanita, can you elaborate on your question? Hola, Uluma, take your daughter. Angel, thank you. I appreciate that. Excellent content. I saw they arrested Tiwara, a young medicine man. Yeah, yeah. No, they're coming after people very hard, right? My spirits are high, but one, I'm a little removed physically from the situation. It is dire. It's extreme. You understand? I'm just saying we're ready for them, right? There's a fight we're waging, and we're ready for them, right? So, Odimma, where are we at? Excellent content. Da, 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 da. Janice has two heads, but is far from our concept of being two-headed. Yes, okay, I know what you're saying. Okay, yeah, yeah. Odimma. What way might a person be able to become more aware of the personal abara in there? Is okay, good, 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 good. All right, cool. All right, so the onyowa. So there is a ritual that people do. I'll go on the ritual perspective. There's a ritual that people do. The English name is just called calling down your chihuahua or eating with your chihuahua, right? And in that ritual, it's a very simple ritual. Shinita, you sign up for the medicine. Let me not give up your business, but if somebody signs up for the medicine class, it's one of the things we teach in the medicine class, how to do that particular one, where you call this particular aspect of yourself down and you have a conversation with them. So it is something that can actually be structured in ritual. But that thing, it's guiding you, right? It guides you throughout your life. So it may appear in dreams, right? Your chihuahua will appear in dreams if you ask it to appear in dreams, or to just answer a question for you. It'll give you signs and so forth. So you can use a ritual perspective, or you can just use a conversational, hey, I need to hear from you, so on and so forth. But your chihuahua is guiding you at all times. It is more intertwined with your person than, how do I explain this? It's intertwined with your person. So instinct, things like instinct. Okay, that's tied to your chihuahua. That's your chihuahua guiding you. The things that you are pulled towards or repelled from, and most importantly, the things that you show excellence in. Right? Like Shanita, I've talked to you well enough. Your brain, your mind, right? The way your mind works, that is your chihuahua. Ndi Igbo sị na, whenever a person shows excellence, it's from Agon. All Agon. It's their Agon. So the idea of connecting to your Chihuahua, yes, there's a deeper level of connection a person can make, but you're already there. So all of those things that your cup is filled very high in, that's your Chihuahua in operation. You are divinely capable, or you have a divine hand or a spiritual hand that you're using to do that thing. You're not doing that as a normal person. So yeah, embrace those gifts. Embrace those gifts. People can lie in writing too. I think Egypt was smart in terms of building actual structures. Yes. So one of the things that the people of Kemet did that helped their story not be told in a crazy way, though people are trying, is actually engrave what they were saying in stone, right? And actually, like for, but here's the thing, right? So you'll see somebody on a chair that looks dead ass like me, and then somebody else will come in and said that, oh, this guy had red hair. This guy had red hair, So people are gonna say what they're gonna say. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. But I do think oral tradition, because people are always like, oh, what if somebody changes the story? Story needs to change. The story needs to change. The story, in order for it to be alive, everything that is alive is in constant growth and change. Okay? Everything that is alive is in constant growth and change. And so if you have something that cannot change, it is petrified, right? It's like a corpse. Even a corpse changes, but it's a proverbial corpse. Let me put it that way, right? It's dead in a way. It's dead in a way that surpasses death. And so when you, for example, now, right, if you look at a lot of the Abrahamic religions, and somebody goes, okay, for example, they'll say that there's different versions of a story, right? And the purpose of the story is not the story. There's something being taught in that story. But you'll notice in all these different versions, based on how old they are, they become more in tune with the thinking of the time, because you don't want to lose what is important, right? You don't want to lose what is important to the details. You understand? So you keep what's important, but you can tweak it for the time, tweak it for the time, tweak it for the time, so on and so forth. And then you reach a point where the story is still relevant to every single generation, every single group of people. But if somebody in 13 BC that thinks that it took 7 days, or was it 7 days to create the world, 6 days to create the world. If you have somebody in, I don't know when that happened, right? But if you have somebody 6,000 years ago who thinks that that's what happened and they write it down, it's stuck. Meanwhile, as that person, as society grows and they get different ideas of when time started, they can make adjustments to the story while keeping what's important, right? While keeping what's important. So then now you have a situation where we're arguing about this corpse, right? That's why they call a book a corpus, right? We're arguing about this corpus, right, of something that's spiritual, right? But spirit is felt. The divine it's interacted with, right? I don't need to read a book about hunger to know that hunger is real, right? I can feel it in my stomach. I don't need to look at a calendar and know, oh, today is March. Today is March. Meanwhile, the new moon is in 5 more days. It's not today. So it's not March, right? But it says it in the corpse. The corpus says it, right? The petrified thing, the dead thing says it. So I have to go with that, right? If something happens and the new moon, for some strange astrological reason, doesn't show up when it's not supposed to show up, then so be it. We'll wait. And when the new one comes, okay, there it is. That's the new moon, right? And nature will respond as well, do the same thing. But if we're saying that, yeah, so writing, it petrifies things, it leaves it stuck in time, right? It dies, it's stuck in time. And think about this, all of us, I'm going to go with people who went to school in America, right? We all, throughout school, we wrote thousands and thousands and thousands of things. And I promise not one of you can pull up something you wrote in school right now. None of you can pull up something you wrote. But you remember every single story somebody told you. I promise. Right? You remember every nursery rhyme you ever heard. You remember if somebody was telling you a story about something that happened to them, you remember all that stuff. You remember the stories. You remember the story, right? But the little, whatchamacallit, the things you wrote in school, no. But the story's still alive. And you tell it to another person. Now that story's in them. And if they need to, they're going to tell it to another person, so on and so forth. Or we can have a tradition where we make sure these stories are always told so that they stay alive because they do a certain thing for us. So I think the oral tradition is a way better way of preserving history than writing. And one of the reasons, like right now, there are things I know that happen in Africa historically that I don't think there's a living historian that knows that shit. And one of the reasons is I got away from writing. I got away from writing. I started paying attention to the oral tradition and ritual and tradition and things like that. I started seeing, oh, okay, that's what that is, and that kind of thing, right? So historian-wise, nobody can see me, right? But people are still stuck on that, looking for what somebody wrote. Okay, there was this European guy, he wrote this thing. Okay, that's what it is. Oh, this guy wrote about the Bantus. Okay, he wrote about I'm a Bantu now, you know? I'm a Bantu now, right? Because a guy got, hey, you look at the thing he wrote too, it was like, hey, some of these guys use metal and some of these guys don't use metal. I think the guys who use metal aren't from here because these ones seem a little more primitive than them. So, okay, now I'm a Bantu, you know, that kind of thing. So, uh, anyways, yeah, it's just only I care about. But yeah, either way, I think the oral tradition it's alive and it needs to change. Stories need to change. Let's get off this like, oh, that's not technically it's not accurate. No, leave it alone. Let it change. Let it evolve. Let it grow. It's fine. You'll live, right? You'll live. In the end of the day, the writing, this idea that if it's written down, it's true is really asinine. It's insane, right? It's actually mental illness. That if something's written, like, so you'll say something to somebody, and then in order for them to believe you, you have to tell them that somebody else wrote the same thing somewhere else. They don't even have to know the person. They don't even have to know the person and have a connection to that person or trust the person. Just say, okay, well, according to another person who wrote it, this. And you go, oh, okay, all right. Now it's more legitimate. Somebody wrote it, put the symbols on a piece of paper. Strange. I'm a spring baby. It makes sense. Even if you look at the zodiac, Aries is the first, right? Aries in the house. I'm an Aries, by the way. But yeah, Aries is the first one. So I think in general, the human animal knows that the spring is, this moon is actually the beginning, right? That kind of thing. No, just the roots died. A lot has happened and progressing. You say. All right, get you. We love that. We love a progressing queen. Do we have to protect ourselves when contacting our ancestors? No. Hi, Ola. Olo. The way having a professional presentation is just not in my destiny. All right, so let me go back. Do we have to protect ourselves from contacting ancestors? Absolutely not. I'm hearing mixed responses, of course. It's keeping me away from my ancestors. Okay, your ancestors are your family members. Okay, you're gonna hear all types of things. So the reason I always do these, like I try to explain things, is I want you to see it from your own logic. Okay, just whatever people are saying, maybe they're right, maybe I'm wrong, but just see it with your own logic. The reason in the African tradition we contact our ancestors is because we do not believe that death is the end of a person, death is the end of family. Okay? We don't believe that death is the end of family. Because we do not believe death is the end of family, when we are doing things, we include our ancestors. Okay? If I'm eating, the ancestors will eat. If I'm drinking, the ancestors will drink. Okay? It's my family. It's my grandmother. It's my great grandmother's still alive, right? On my dad's side. So I'll say my grandmother on my mom's side. It's my grandmother. It's my grandfather. It's my great grandmother. It's my great grandfather, and that kind of thing. These are not people I need to protect myself from. They're not going to hurt me. They can't hurt me. Another reason we connect with those ancestors, because that is the greater me. That's the bigger me. Okay? That's me. That's me then, if that makes sense. I always use this. In fact, my next video, I bring this up, but I always use this analogy, right? Because we got so caught up on the physical matter of a person. Every 7 years, your physical body does not share a single cell in common with you 7 years ago. So physically, you become a totally different being multiple times in your life. But there's something that is holding you together, that's holding all those physical versions of you together. Let's pan out, right? We pan out. In the African context, because we already understood this, our ancestors already knew this. In the African context, you're actually not a different person from your parents. And they are not a different person from their parents. And they are not a different person from their ancestors. And if you go all the way back to your ancestry, you're going to end up at the earth as one of your mothers, and the sky as one of your fathers. Well, how can the sky be one of your fathers? Because the basic ingredients of life, one of them requires thunder or light thunder to strike the earth. When thunder strikes the earth, you'll see a growing of mushrooms in that area, right? It's one of the necessary, it starts with an N. Nitrogen, one of those. Necessary. That's what impregnates the earth, is that striking of thunder. Okay? So when it rains, it's not just the rain that's fertilizing, it's also that thunder. Okay? So the sky is one of your fathers, the earth is one of your mothers. And you keep tracing it back, tracing it back, tracing it back. Now, if you need to protect yourself from your ancestors, why don't you protect yourself from the earth? Why don't you protect yourself from the sky? Why don't you protect yourself from hey mama, hey mama, Oloma? Why don't you protect yourself from I mean, some of you had to protect yourself from your grandparents. I'm not gonna sum up everybody's story, but I hope you understand what I'm saying, right? It's the same thing. All of that, like, hyper careful, hyper fearful approach to ancestral spirituality, it just comes from white supremacist Christian paranoia that told several generations of your people that you are evil. Okay? Let's stop all this, like, oh, African tradition. You, right? Oh, they said that the African traditions were bad. No, they said your black ass was evil. They didn't say the African tradition was bad. They said your black ass was evil. Okay? That your black ass was, that's what they said. They didn't say, oh, cola nuts are evil. They said your black ass is evil. They said you as a black person, you're evil, right? And one of the best things you can do from yourself is protect yourself from all them other black people you are attached to. This includes your family members, right? Your direct family members. Remember, let's go to American history. when they're taking the Native American kids away from their families. Okay, let's save this kid from being with those people, right? Let's get him away from all that evil. He's evil too, but if we can get this little one away, then we can try to, do a little something with it, right? It's ingrained in the Mormon religion. It's ingrained, it's there. They wrote it blank. So we talk about all these things like, oh, the church is against. No, the church is against your skin color and skull shape. That's what the church is against. Okay? That's what they told your ancestors was bad. And then everything associated with that or that came from that also ends up being bad too. Okay? So all this hyper careful, hyper scary, it's not like, oh, if I do this, will this one get mad? Or if, oh, my ancestors, they're mad. I got to do this. I have to appease. All that shit comes from, I know where that comes from. And you know where it comes from too, if you're hearing what I'm saying. Okay? It's just anything black is scary. Anything black is bad. Anything African is scary. Anything African is bad. Now, I know that's not true, right? I have African children. I have an African wife. I have African parents. I have all you African people that watch my stuff, and none of you are scaring me, okay? So that's just not true. It's not real, okay? It's not real. So it's if you anything associated with that comes from your tint and skull shape, you're supposed to protect yourself from. So when you hear anything pertaining to an African tradition that you're supposed to be fearful of, hola.
Open the door.
No, I can't open the door. Okay, we're trying to be professional.
No.
Hola, go to mommy. Okay. Oh, sorry, mama. All right. All right. Uluma. All right. Okay, so whatever I was on, I've snapped out of it. But either way, so no, you don't have to protect yourself from your ancestors. You don't have to protect yourself from rivers. You don't have to protect it. When I say Nemi, I'm talking about mother water. That's what I just said. If I say Igwe, I'm saying sky. If I'm saying Allah, I'm saying earth. Okay? If I'm saying Agun, I'm saying consciousness. Right? Agun, the one that calculates. The thinker, the universal mind, the mind, thought. Okay, you don't have to skip just because I'm saying it in an African language doesn't make these terms scary, right? Because if I say genius, genius is the same thing, or similar, but similar things. Let me say that. If I said genius, all right. So yeah, it's nothing. You don't need to protect yourself from your ancestors. Your ancestors are your family members, and they're you. Okay. They're your family members. If you're protecting yourself from your ancestors, you should also protect yourself from your DNA and whatever you may possibly inherit from your ancestors. So, okay, I'll do more. Hey, bro, you're super cool. Hey, appreciate it, Richard. I'll do more. Hey, you look like a sharp dressed fellow, so I appreciate. I appreciate a man of your caliber giving me that compliment. Question about Onyowa was related to something I previously discussed about Chi and Madon Eke. Started making a diagram of rings. Okay, Chi and Anita, here's the thing. These lives, we do easy questions here, okay? You're coming with group study questions. Guys, we have a group study on Patreon, and I keep every live, I've said this, get on Patreon. We have a group study on Patreon where we go in and we have like this round table discussion and we talk and Shianita is coming. You're coming with group study level thoughts, right? Here we're chilling, right? But bring any question you want, I'll answer, right? I just like giving you a hard time. I don't know. But when you start talking about diagrams, I was like, yo. I remember one time with a group study, because we have like a lot of like, very intelligent people in there, right? One time you guys just got on some physics kick, and we were just going back and forth with physics. I'm just there like, I was like, yo. So let's bring it back down, okay? I'll do more. But yeah, join the group study, even if you don't know physics. It's awesome. And those of you who are already patrons and you don't make it to the group study, try to make it to the group study. I want to see some newer faces. Every now and then we get like one or two new people. I want to see like 10 new people, see what that does. Adema. Everyone's son Ra built the pyramids in Kemet. I'm gonna leave that alone. Uh, which is like 3 out of 4 human soul parts visual. That's the question. Okay, I'll do my. Okay. Shinid, I think I understand your question. It's just the level. It's just the level, right? So my brain is at like 45% right now, right? 45%. Before the group study, I get my drink, I get my water. Hey, we got a donation. You say, hey, thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. You got it, dude. I still need to find a way to celebrate the super chat. I think the bell should be good enough. What do you guys think? Anybody that sends, should I ring the bell, chat? I want to sound like Kai Sinet in them. I would agree the most difficult gift spirits communicating with is not auditory dreams, mediumship, but that gut feeling can't explain with words. But yes, 100%. The gut feeling, yeah, 100%. All of that is more. All of that is more. All of that is more. All of that is your chi, right? That oh no, something's going on here. I don't know about this person. Yeah, that one. That's for you. There you go. Right. That's your more. Even like my son, for example, right? So there's a connection between his chi and science. People think I'm like, when he was a baby, I wanted to teach him this and teach him that. And I noticed that you really don't have to teach him anything. This is just what he does. So I just let go. And now he's playing a game where like he loves space. And so he's trying to get all of the tilts of the planets to be accurate. He's like, I just got the right tilt for Uranus. I just got the right tilt for Uranus. And it's just like a pause. And I'm just kidding. But I just got the right tilt for Uranus. And I'm just like, well, there's no way I could have taught him that. I don't know that. He's like, that's his chi. That's his chi's guiding him through that, right? And to him, it feels like a game. It feels like play. So the same thing with you guys. All that's his gut feel. You know what you like. You know who you are, right? You know what you like. You know who you are. You know what you're pulled to. You know what you're repelled by. That's your chi. That's your chi. That's what that is. Okay. So I always say that listening your chi to hearing your chi is the easiest thing you can do, right? It's don't let anybody make it complicated for you. Ademma. Hey, we got a super chat. You say, all right, cool. Okay, it sounds like you guys want the bell for the super chats. Thank you so much for the donation. Once we get to your name, I'm gonna really cake it on. So Ademma. Where are we at? I'm from Bangladesh. Hey, we welcome you, brother. Welcome from Bangladesh. So in my past life, which was 12 years ago, I had a sales company. And what I would do was I would help software companies, like small software companies, like get customers with like larger companies. And one of my clients that I worked with for a long time and we got really close, was a man from Bangladesh. And I was a lot of what I was doing was cultural interpretation for like immigrants, right? For immigrant companies. And he was just such a cool guy. He was one of my first clients. So I was trying to be super professional, but I know with Bangladeshi culture, let me not say you're not professional, but Bangladeshi culture, you guys like gifting, 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 gifting. So he was really into that. And after a while, I just relax and just accept it and kind of learn how you guys operated. And once a Bangladeshi is your friend, you got a friend for life. So yeah, shout out to you from Bangladesh, man. That's interesting about writing because I'm scoring the internet for anything written about my people because I can't find people who will tell me the stories. Yeah, so we are depending on writing as a crutch, right? Isabel, I myself don't get it twisted. I still do a lot of reading because I don't have in a lot of places I don't have a lot of options. I don't have options, right? I don't have options, so we do have to read because of the circumstance we've been left with, right? Um, and that's unfortunate, but the most ideal for me would be if these stories are kept alive. So with my kids, I'm telling them the stories, Tell them every night, if they're able to get themselves in their beds on time, they get a story from me. So I make sure any story I know they're gonna get it right, and they love it, and they enjoy it, and they never forget they never forget the stories. They never. I've forgotten every single thing I have read in high school. I forgot every single thing I read in high school. A few things stuck out and they stuck with me. But for the most part, I've forgotten most of the thing. But I can tell you 100 stories of the things that happened the same day that I read the thing, right? But just because of circumstance, we have to depend on writing. Our parents dropped the ball in a lot of circumstances. There's this channel on TikTok where she talks about boomers. I think I'm going to make a video. I'm going to make a video about this. I feel that we are all recovering from the PTSD of being raised by boomers. And I think that we actually have to sit down and address that. And it's interesting to me because she's white, but she's kind of saying the same things that more or less they don't teach you anything. They drop the ball. They're always focused on themselves even till this day. Just a lot of different things like that. I'm like, you know what? This is a universal thing that we all need to sit down and talk about one day because it's like the elephant in the room, right? But we're all raised by boomers, so a lot of stories were not passed on, and seeking the stories were not encouraged. And it seems to just be something going on with that generation. So I don't know. Our birthdays are a few days apart. He said, can you sing Bengali songs? I cannot sing Bengali songs. I did not listen to any Bengali music with my former Bengali client. Um, but he's a good guy nonetheless. Greetings, Bengali friend. Cool. Your gut is your second brain. He said. Your gut, your heart, certain organs are like Abara, right? That kind of thing. Who protects themselves from water while drinking it? I got snorkels for extra money, a little red and white crossing grave. Right, right. Like I said, I've looked into a lot of history. Like I'm very much a historian, and there's a pattern that I've seen. And let me just say this, there's some cultures who believe that you're a human, that believe humans are humans. And there are some cultures that believe some people are humans and other people are cows. And the cultures that believe some people are humans, other people are cows, tend to have fear-based kind of approaches to things, right? For the cows, not the humans. You'll see in a lot of my videos, I'll say that one of the reasons like I got like in a couple of videos, I'll talk about like, okay, look, the CIA is doing this too, right? This thing I'm talking about right now, the CIA, heads up, the CIA is doing this shit too, right? And you'll see that at the top, the herders, the humans, they do Odinala. They do the thing that I'm talking about. It's just not for the cows, right? It's just not for the folk or the fellows, right? Go look up what the word, let me double check with the word fellows, the origin of the fellow, the fellowship, the flock, the sheep. It's not for y'all. You guys get the cow interpretation of the rules. I get the human interpretation. So that when a cow tells another cow, "Hey, there's a thing in that house that the herder goes to. It's called a television." He looks at it. There's a bunch of things moving around. That cow's not going to believe him. Like, man, what are you talking about? I don't believe it, right? Then if they believe it, they might be scared. Oh, I heard if you look at TVs, I'm afraid. You're fine. Can confirm, not evil. He said, "Safety first, correct, bro." All right. I have been ranting today, so I hope these rants have been coherent, and I hope that you guys have been able to take in these rants and receive something valuable because I've just been going off on them. This is what I'm worried about when I talk about certain people, gathering info, people, spirituality. It's tough finding people untainted by the damage of Christianity. Yeah. It's difficult. It's difficult. I think one of the things that helped me is that when I started the medicine show, I started it as an archiving project, and it's still an archiving project. It kind of just took a life of its own. And so I try to take myself out of it as much as possible and just give you just the as objective as possible and that kind of thing, right? But it's very hard for a person to take in things, and even I'm including myself, and to not inject themselves into it. And since Christianity has been made a part of everybody's self, it's hard to find somebody that doesn't do that. So ultimately, What our ancestors were talking about is nature. Okay? What our ancestors were talking about is nature. That's all they're talking about. And so often, if somebody says something and it doesn't correlate with nature, then reconsider. You are learning an art. You are not learning a doctrine. Okay? You are learning an art. You are not learning a doctrine. There are a lot of cultures where they'll play a song for you and you're supposed to just say it's a good song because that gives you social status. But you know if it's a good song or not because music is art. Okay? Within you, that thing inside you goes, this ain't it. You understand? Listen to that thing. It's not wrong, right? A lot of, let me leave this cow thing alone. You guys aren't gonna understand what I'm saying. But what was I gonna say? It's all good. All right, we lost that one. So I think the ancestors say, yo, chill out. This is where I'm worried about talking to certain people. Gather. Okay, go ahead, demo. They want us to be calling dead ancestors Abraham and co instead of our own. Okay, do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? It doesn't. These they don't. It's not that they believe your traditions are bad. All of their medicines come from your tradition. A good, all of their science. I was gonna say a good portion, but no, all of it. All of their sciences come from your tradition. It's you that's bad, right? All the your music is fine. Your art is fine. Your ideas are that's fine. It's you that's the problem. So when they start telling you all that fear, when you get that little fear thing, right? It's you're supposed to be afraid of yourself, okay? And so then from there, anything in proximity of you, it gets scarier and scarier. Or the closer proximity it is, the more scary it's supposed to be. If you're in this weird paradigm that people just don't want to step out of, right? It don't take much to step out of a paradigm. It doesn't stay. It's a game. It's all a game. Okay. So if you're playing with a bunch of kids and they're playing a game and you don't like it, go to the other part of the playground and play the game you want to play. Okay. Don't just because you have to. But some people will tell you certain songs are, oh, if you listen to classical music, this is up here, but this type of music is down here. Right. That's weird. You know, that's weird. If you call your ancestors right, that's weird. But if you study history, what do you think studying history is? What do you think? Why do you think they teach history in school? Oh, so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. That's stupid. That doesn't make sense. That's a lot of money spent on not repeating the mistakes of the past, right? Everybody knows we're humans. We're going to do the same thing we've always been doing. So what does that mean? Okay, we've been teaching history for how long now? Well over 90,000 years, you know? Have we stopped doing bad things? No. So that's not the reason we teach. It's ancestor worship. That's what it is, if you want to use that term. It's ancestor veneration. Why do we build statues? Of them, not you. You build a statue of you got a problem. All right, we got a problem. Build one of them, okay, I get it. What do you think that is? What do you think a funeral is? What do you think a holiday is? But it's your funeral that's bad. Your holiday that's bad. Your ancestor that's bad. It's you. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about your skin color and your skull shape. That's the issue. It's not the other stuff. So when they start saying, "Oh man, I'm scared. I heard that if you do this and do that, it's scary." It's not the do, it's the you, right? You're the scary thing. You're the problem, right? But that paradigm doesn't make sense to me, right? So I meet Africans every day of my life. I deal with them every day, and they're cool people. They're not scary. They're not bad people. So that paradigm. So when somebody comes with that paradigm, and I'm like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense, right? What do you mean the ground is the sky and the sky is the ground? That doesn't make sense. I'm just not going to abide by that. I'm going to continue living my life, and if I'm wrong, then we'll see. But so far, so good, right? So far, so good. So, but people don't want to let go of that. You know, people don't want to let go of that fear-based mentality and self-condemnation, right? Self-condemnation. You understand? Oh, denial is just your ancestors' thoughts. It's ancestral thoughts. That's what it is. Okay? So somebody tells you, oh, okay, okay, I heard like I heard you got to be careful when you're talking to your ancestors. Yeah, you got to be careful when you're talking to your ancestors, but President's Day is fine. President's Day. Hey, you said, I think we got another super chat. Damn, y'all are cooking today. No, no, thank you. I appreciate that. No. Damn, this bell is really good. Hey, get the super chats going. Let's hit this bell. But here I am getting greedy. All right, so yeah, President's Day is fine, right? You can go up there and do a little speech about the damn pilgrims. You can make a little. Remember in kindergarten they used to make you used to do a little paper mache of the pilgrims. But if I make a little, if I do this, like if I let me find one. I don't have anyone here. If I make a thing that represents my ancestors, all of a sudden I'm doing something crazy. But I can make a little paper pilgrim, a little paper turkey, a little paper Indian, right? That's fine. But you make them Negros, all right. Now we got something crazy. Now you've lost your mind, right? So all that fear, oh no, leave that alone, man. That's not normal. That's not normal. That's not. And once you leave it alone, there's just so much life to be lived. There's too much life to be lived, right? For you to be worried about. Oh man, I heard that if I say good morning to my great great grandmother, or did I do it the right way? Did I do it the right way? Let that shit go. Let that shit go. All right. That's why Catholics are my favorite genre of genre. That's why Catholics are my favorite genre of Christian. They're far more open to change than evangelicals. Yeah, so I have been really studying the denominations of Christianity because the if you American politics is just Christian denominations battling each other. On the surface, it looks like progressive, right wing, but it's really Christian denominations fighting each other. And I can go into this because it's actually one of our patrons that put me onto this, like super brilliant guy. But he went to Harvard and he noticed it there, and then they kind of let him in on it. And what they were telling him was that, and it's true, that what we call Democrats are actually Lutherans, Methodists, sometimes Catholics, but Catholics go back and forth and they're split. Um, Lutherans, Methodists, Quakers, like the Pilgrims, all the Pilgrim religions, and they're the ones that started like Harvard and all the Ivy League schools. That's all them. That's all them. That kind of thing. They were originally supposed to be the ruling class of the country. They believe in benevolent leadership. Like a qualified person should be the one giving you the Bible. And then the other side, are that we're calling the evangelicals, are the people who believe that um, the person who has the Holy Ghost should be teaching you the thing, right? The person who has the inspiration from God, not the person who went to the school. So that's where the anti-intellectual. It's just a whole. It's super interesting. It's super interesting. But once you see that fault line, the denomination fault line, a whole lot of things open up, and it becomes like very obvious, right? But at a point, that Lutheran Methodist, that group, they had control of both parties, but the one party controlled like a coalition of minorities. The other one controlled a coalition of what they call Hoosiers, right? Which is like white trash, poor white people, right? And what's happened as of late is the Hoosiers, every now and then they take over, right? So right now the Hoosiers are in charge, right? They've taken over, and that's what we're dealing with right now, right? But then the upper crust, they'll eventually put them back at bay and that kind of thing, or maybe they won't. We'll see. So interesting stuff. Maybe something I'm only interested in, but how do you feel about mirrors in an altar space? Oh, that's a good question. I don't use them, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that so there's a part in your altar that has to represent you. And a lot of people use a mirror to do that because it's perfect, right? So it's smart. So that's good. And then a lot of like in the Igbo tradition, a lot of Arishi, mirrors are important to certain Arishi. So Allah is often she'll often have like a mirror, two mirrors on the sides, like on her hair, two in her hair, one above, right? Or she will have, and then that connects with the number three. Number three, Afa is her day. Afa is the third day. Afa is also one of her names. It's her day. It goes deep, right? And then Nemiri often holds a mirror. She often holds a mirror, right? And then you can also see that in the reflexiveness of water. So there's nothing wrong with using a mirror in your altar. I think it's a super powerful symbol. I just don't use one because my altar is outside. It'd look crazy, or it wouldn't look crazy, but it'd get like mud and stuff on it. It'd just be a grimy ass mirror. So I'll do mine. Can I go connect? Can I go correct math anxiety in one's mind? Math is key to profits and some. Yeah. So absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to be making a new type of video. I'm making new types of videos, and I'm I think we have enough content on the general ideas in Odinala. Now we're going to get a lot more specific. So I think this creative force. I'm going to make a note to myself. You said anxiety or math anxiety. Math anxiety. We're going to look at that from the ancestral lens. Okay, we're going to look at the next one. The next one I'm working on right now is self-sabotage, right? Because I have found the spirit that is behind self-sabotage. I have found the moi, the equency that is behind self-sabotage. So that's the next one we're doing, right? It's a new type of video, so I hope you guys like it. But if you don't, I'm still going to do it. So you just have to wait till I feel like doing another one. I feel like I don't know enough to ask any questions that matter. Phoenix, ask whatever, right? You guys aren't even asking me how I feel, right? How do you feel? How was your day? You know, that's a question. All right, so did I miss something? Hold on. All right, Fred, or no, this is D. Okay, Fred said, Paul said, the spirit giveth, but the letter leads to death. Interest, exactly. Exactly. Right? Because the letter was something given to a person, but it may not be the one given to you. And if you open your ears, you can receive your own. You don't necessarily have to go to that book or that this or that to receive it. If you open your ears, you can receive your own. It's here for everybody, right? I don't have to read a book about heartbeats to know how heartbeats work. I also don't need to know about heartbeats to know how for my heart to beat. So that's another thing. D. Sheldon, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you have a recommendation on a book that can teach us how to speak and approach ancestors? Okay, D. Right now, I have written a book, and it's our textbook for our traditional medicine class. Okay, it is a textbook for our traditional medicine class, but I have an excerpt of it that teaches you exactly how to communicate with your ancestors that I have in the library. So even if you don't take the medicine class, you can do that one. The one in the library is called e-golf. So I give the English and I give the Igbo. I give you like different phrases you can use if you want to use Igbo. It goes step by step and everything like that. But if you want to go deep, then you can sign up for the traditional medicine class on Kedu. But yeah, 100%. Let me give you some quick instruction. If right now, the economy is cooked, the economy is cooked, and hey, we're busy, so maybe you don't have time to take a class or join Patreon. So I'll try to give you some steps here. Okay, very basic thing. First thing you do, clean yourself, right? Make sure you're clean, right? Our ancestors say that a child who washes his hands can eat with the ancestors. Okay, a child who washes his hands can eat with the ancestors. So the first thing you're going to do is oblation, I think is the term. You wash your hands. What I do is I wash my feet, I wash my hands, I wash my face, right? Sometimes not in that order, but definitely the feet don't touch the face, right? So, or I go right after I shower. So make sure you're clean. The next thing you'll do is what you're fundamentally doing is you're saying good morning. That's all you're doing. Dinnalandibo, like I said earlier, we are all one being with our ancestors, but there are strings of spirit that connect us to them, known as ete. There are strings of spirit that connect us to them. So what you are doing when you're connecting to your ancestors, listen to the terminology and even English, is you're cleaning that road, you're sweeping that road, you're cleaning that street, you're fine tuning that connection. Okay. In the Igbo tradition, the footpath is sacred because the footpath shows you how Ete works. A footpath is, of course, they call it women's paths, and the big idea behind women's path is that the women are the ones that control the market in our culture. And so as they're walking to the market back and forth, they create roads. And as they're going to their friends' houses and hanging out and all that stuff, they create more roads. And as they're interacting, they're creating more. So all these roads that are created by women interacting with each other are footpaths. They are ete. Same thing with our ancestors. So we continuously visit them to keep that path clear and the soil under it strong, right? That's if you abandon a footpath, if nobody uses a footpath for years, it starts growing weeds, it starts cracking, and then the path is gone. Nature takes the path again. Okay? So what you're doing is you're opening your footpath by visiting them. All you're doing is saying good morning. Okay? Now, D, if you have ancestors that speak English, using English is fine. If you have ancestors that speak Igbo, throwing in the Igbo is fine. Patois, Creole, Geechee, anything, Portuguese, whatever. Just whatever language they speak, you're doing that. You whatever it is you're eating for the day, you take it to them and you say, "Good morning, here you go. I brought this for you. Good morning, here you go." Sometimes you can just bring water. Water is fine, right? Water is life. Water gives life, right? Bring water, bring whatever. Just bring yourself, just to say good morning, right? So when I communicate with my ancestors through my altar, I just say each of their names. Okay. So the next thing is make sure you know your ancestors' names. I say, "This ancestor, I greet you," right? "This ancestor, I greet you. This ancestor, I greet you." Now, in my own tradition, I'm the first son of my family, so it's my duty to greet all of my male ancestors on my paternal line. That is my specific culture. It may not be your culture, right? That kind of thing. So either way, greet the ancestors whose names that you know. Nothing bad's gonna happen if I greet the other ones either. It's just I gotta make sure those ones are greeted. Then I can do whatever I want, right? And even if I don't, again, nothing. It's just duty. It's my community duty. It's not like I'm gonna go to Igbo hell or something like that, right? So you greet them, right? You bring something, or you just bring yourself and you're saying good morning. This one good morning, this one good morning, this one good morning. If you want to greet the elements of nature, the ambara, the gods as they call them, right? You greet them as well. This one, good morning, good morning, good morning. A greeting in the African tradition is sacred. It is unbelievably powerful. It's unbelievably powerful. A good morning is unbelievably powerful, right? And that's all you really need. You invite it. You invite the spirit, right? So as you say good morning, you leave your thing. You can also decree what kind of day we're about to have, right? Today we're gonna be wealthy today, right? We're gonna be wealthy today. We're gonna be healthy today, right? We are going to grow in wisdom today. We're going to that thing I was looking for, we're gonna find it today, right? And it's gonna be like this, and this is how we ended in the Igbo tradition. It's gonna be like this on Eke Day, Orie Day, Afo, and Donkwo, and then you say Ise, right? Once you've done that, you've done the whole thing. So if you need it written down, I have. We're talking about writing. I've been been talking about writing this whole time. It's like, by the way, if you want to get my book, if you need it written down, I have it in the library on Patreon. So if you're a patron, go to the recommended folder. If you don't want to do all that, just message me on Patreon. I'll send you the link. Okay. And then our traditional medicine class, it goes for there's more deep. Like you can go. This is basic. What I gave you is just basic. You can go deep, right? You can go super deep. So we try to do that with the traditional medicine class. D, great question. I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna hit like on that. Ogene to celebrate. Yeah, I need to get an Ogene. I need to get an Ogene. Guys, it's I have this I don't like making purchases. And it's not that it's not a money thing either. It's not like I'm like tight fist or anything like that. I just don't like it just doesn't cross my mind to buy things, right? So getting an Ogene is a good idea. And hopefully I retain this idea long enough to get it. But eventually, I think that eventually we'll do that. Mirror equals water. So some people are like, oh, you should get this for that. I was like, anyways, I hope you guys understand. There's a white guy who moves 20K pound blocks all by himself on YouTube. People built the pyramids probably using the same techniques. Maybe. The pyramids are not 20K block. I mean, I don't know. I guess like it's hard for me to visualize a 20K block. That's hard for me to visualize. What would you compare a 20K block to? Because I don't think a human being, because I've seen the pyramids, I don't think a human being can lift those bricks. And I think it would be asinine to believe that they had that many people who can lift that many bricks and lay them in that much precision. So this desacralization was also aimed at severing our connection to them, their memory, exactly, because that's what makes a person strong. That's what makes a person. That's where strength comes from, right? We're talking about lifting 20K bricks. If I want to lift a 20K brick, which again, give me a visual on that because that sounds asinine. But if I want to lift a 20K brick, I'm not just going to do this, right? I'm not just going to do this. I'm going to use every muscle, every bone, my brain, I'm going to breathe a certain way. I'm going to make sure my heart is at a, and I'm going to, that's my spirit. I'm going to use I'm going to throw everything into it. And the more of me I throw into it, the stronger. But there's more to me than this. There's also this. And there's going back in time. There's that as well. All of that. So can you imagine if I lifted a 20 with all of that, right? I went all the way back to Nayamanaha, right? And all the way there. All right, lift. Yeah. Man, shit. Right? That's what makes people strong. That's where strength comes from. They want us to do this. Eh, eh, eh. That's what they want you to do. Because once you're doing that, you're not strong. And then you need all these other things to lift for you. Right? You need all these other things to lift for you. Okay? If you knew what your ancestors saw and survived, it'd be all this bullshit they're trying to do difficult to scare you. Difficult to scare you. That's why Soludo is going after the Odinani people. That's why he's on a mission. He was sent on a mission. That they want to stomp out this whole Biafra thing, and there's this group of people that they're not shaking. That if you shoot them, they keep coming at you. There's videos. Type in River State. There's people in River State. They're shooting this guy. He keeps coming at them. Right? He doesn't care. Right? You don't have to believe me. By the way, right? You got these people where it's like, all right, if I die, I die. Fuck it. You know what I mean? This is what it is. Okay, now what am I going to do? This guy doesn't even care if he lives or dies. That kind of thing. Because he's living for something bigger than himself. But once we pull all that shit out of you, then it's just, what can I put in my stomach? What can I put in my stomach? All right, now we got you. Now you're a cow. Now you're a cow. Put your head in the grass and eat the grass, right? We got you where we want you, right? So yeah. So people reclaim their humanity, and being human is an incredibly powerful thing. That's all it is. That's what they want to keep you from. Akudo, you said, thank you so much. I'm gonna ring the bell again for that. That was really cool. It was the music that moved blocks, vibrations. Okay, we're talking about pyramids. Friends for life are beautiful. Yes, friends for life are beautiful. I feel like I'm way behind. Derek, why have you blocked me from this show? I didn't block you. I didn't block. Phoenix, hey, but you don't mess with my mods, so you did something that pissed my mod off. So if you don't do that, I have SEAL Team 6 as mods. I got Phoenix and I got Udochi, and they don't play. And you play too much. That's your problem. You play too many games. So let's do this. Phoenix and Udochi. I don't know Udochi if you're listening, if you're here today. If it's not racist, sexist, or homophobic, it's fine. It's fine, right? Even if they're saying crazy stuff about me, that's fine. Even if they're obviously being disruptive, it's fine. It's fine. Let them cook. Let them cook. Your heart has its own brain. Absolutely, absolutely. I think in the West we put way too much on the brain. We put way too much on the brain. The brain is not doing half of what we think it's doing. Okay. Your skin has its own brain. What is the ancestral view on autism? This is a super good question. I think so. I don't want to say anything because I don't have an answer for that. I don't think our ancestors, okay, so when it comes to mental health, it's all about classifications, right? So where you draw a line on what is normal and what is abnormal, okay? And so based on the society you're in, you're going to have different classifications because you have different sets of what is normal. Does that make sense? Right? And so when you go to the different mental health traditions of different cultures, you're not going to get the same diagnoses because they have different social needs. Ara or madness in the Igbo tradition is very much a thing that makes you pull yourself away from society or the group, right? A thing that affects you so much that you can't be with the group. But if you can still be with the group and have the thing, you're not crazy. You don't have Ara, right? I'm saying crazy for Ara, that kind of thing. And so when we come to like a diagnosis like autism, first of all, in the West, it's so vague that it damn near doesn't have a meaning. It is so vague. Autism is so vague that we know what it is, but the clinical definition of it is so vague that it's just one of those things you know what it is, but if you have to explain it, then it gets difficult, right? That kind of thing. And so, as far as autism goes, there's no single thing because I don't think we had a classification that said autism, right? Or that was the same box of things, right? Because a lot of the things that are happening within autism would not be abnormal in that setting. It's because of this setting that we're in that a lot of that is abnormal and therefore it's seen as abnormal psychology, right? A lot of debias behave like your standard autistic person. But that behavior is like, oh, okay, they're a debia. That's why. You understand? Just somebody who's walking through the forest and is just obsessed with the shape of branches. Oh, yeah, they're a plant person. That's a debia. That's fine. That's who they are, right? You know, I did make a video on Ubanje, and a lot of autistic people are like, yo, that's autism. Okay. Okay, I hope my audio doesn't mess up. But yeah, I made a video on Obanje, and a lot of people that were autistic said, "Hey, that sounds like me," right? And so it's hard for me to say one singular thing, but it's a different society. I have this book here. Oh, I should always have it with me, shouldn't I? Because I bring it up so much. I just dropped my favorite album. So I have a book here that's like mental health in the Igbo tradition. It's talking about like healing insanity. It's a masterpiece. And it talks about the different diagnoses in Odinani, right? Different. He has a set of diagnoses that he describes, and there's some things in there that in the West we wouldn't consider like a mental illness. I mean, if you think about it, yeah, but it's not like in that tradition, right? And then there's some things that overlap as well. There's some things that overlap, right? One of them that always stuck out to me was Arauke. Arauke is group insanity. It's like a mental illness that activate or that is activated by either belonging to a group or wanting to belong to a group. But for some reason, this group is making you lose it. So that is a diagnosis in this culture, right? But then if you go to the West, you see people like joining cults, gangs, um, people that get really weird about like religion, their church and stuff. Uh Things like that. You see it, it's there, but we just haven't drawn that box on it and said this is abnormal on a mental health level, right? We didn't do that. I don't know why in the West they don't do that, but it's just different societies have different needs, you know. a lot of diagnoses, oh, they don't make eye contact. In a lot of cultures, you just don't make eye contact. So, mental health doesn't transfer one to one culturally. But when I did speak about, I'm not saying autism is obanje, please. But when I did make a video about obanje, a lot of autistic people said, hey, that's autism. Right? They said that's autism. When I made my Debia video, not a lot of people, but a couple of people like, do you think autism has something to do with being a Debia? Do you think I got that question a few times, right? So that's that. Now, when a person's autism is to the point where they can't be a part of the family or can't be a part of the group, they can feel the inclination to separate themselves. They can feel more rewarded in isolation. That's normal. But if they're like, you know, they're just in the forest, like they just don't come home now if you were dealing with Ara, right? But if it's just that one that, he's obsessed with branches or he's obsessed with shells or um just like a human calculator or maybe he can't dress himself, that kind of thing, just all these different things that we put in the autism box. If they're still a part of the mix and they're still hanging out, it's fine. Like if you go to any village, everybody knows there's that one hyper bipolar aunt, and then that one complete borderline personality uncle that everybody has in their village, but they're not seeing. That's just them, right? That's just them, that kind of thing. So, good question though. Somebody said asking because of the telepathy tapes. Those telepathy tapes are interesting. I've referenced them 3 times now on my videos. So, because again, like I said earlier, I was like, yo, the CIA be doing this shit. They're doing this shit, bro. Like heads up, they're doing it. So if you're here questioning or not sure, just at the highest level in your society, it's being done. All this thing I'm talking about is being done. It's just the cows, the rest of us. We're not supposed to do this shit. So, never mind. When will my ban be lifted? I can't speak with my other account. All right, so we're leaving that alone. I don't know. Was it weird? You probably deserved it. You probably deserved it. Phoenix, well done. Well done. Well done. More rants in 2025. Yes, more rants. More rants. More rants. You say. All right, you guys are. I'm a writer. Nice. I've been since a child. I struggle with retaining stories that come to be. How can we. Okay. How can I see these dreams better and remember them? Can you speak more about dreams in general? Yeah, P.S. A super good question, especially the ones that wake you as soon as they're finished. Super good question. Your capacity to dream gives you access to this other part of existence, right? That oftentimes is hard to describe with words. So oftentimes when you have these dreams and you come out and you're trying to use words to describe them, the words escape you, right? But some of them are supposed to. Okay? Some of them are supposed to. So let me put it this way: you never lose the dream, you never really forget the dream, right? It just dematerializes to the point where words don't describe it. There's a lot of people that are like, for example, that have like done like ayahuasca, and they'll say that they've seen things, but they can't use words to describe what they saw and that kind of thing. And I think that's a similar thing with the dreams. Now, if you received abia, a parcel of wisdom, and you saw it in the dream, go ahead and start writing. Go ahead and start writing. It will organically bring itself out. Okay? Go ahead and start expressing it. It'll organically uh, bring itself out. But when you want to come and tell somebody the story, sometimes that doesn't happen. And it's not supposed to be that way. Or whatever that parcel, whatever that package you received, right? From beyond, from more, whatever the package you received is supposed to do, it will do it. Just continue moving, continue doing what you're doing, right? But dreams are almost like a crossroads. So in the dream state, you can interact with more, you interact with spirits, you interact with your ancestors, you interact with all these different elements. They take different forms and so forth, but that's what you're doing. You're interacting with all these different elements and so forth. Um, I did afa recently, like I did divination for somebody. By the way, I'm about to start doing divination for y'all soon. So I did divination. I've been studying afa for like a year now. This summer will make it a year. And I did Fi, and then after the Fi, I went to sleep and I had a dream. And the dream, all the dream did was affirm that, okay, you did well, good job, right? That kind of thing. And it was a fun ass dream, and I can tell that the thing that's telling me I did well was like, all right, I'm gonna let him have fun. Okay? So I had a really fun dream, and I knew the message of the dream, right? One of the things about Odinani too is that once you become more intentional with your spirit, with your spirituality, with your practice, your dreams start making more sense even when they don't make sense. They happen more frequently, right? And when they happen, they have more meaning. You then also find that you have a lot more control than you thought. Not just control of like controlling the details, but like saying, this is what's going to happen. I need an answer, right? I need an answer for this. You understand? I need an answer for this. Or I show me this thing. Or I, I, I have a story, but it's not coming together. Show me the way. Show me whatever. Then you go to sleep, and all of a sudden, like, oh shit, you know, your calls can be answers. One of the ways your calls can be answered is through dreams, right? Um, if you're capable, you can also communicate within dreams and speak to these different things you're interacting with and that kind of thing. Um, but Udinani has taught me how to navigate dreams way better. Like I think maybe I'm more of a lucid dreamer now, but I can navigate dreams way better. And yeah, and then also it's not just a matter of like going to your altar and be like, oh, tell me some shit, you know. Remember I was saying earlier about the saying you have to greet good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Then when you're ready, hey, I have a question. This and that. Because you've kept the relationship alive, you'll receive your answer naturally, right? Because you've kept the relationship alive with simple good mornings, the answer will come a lot easier, that kind of thing. When oftentimes when you've never kindled that relationship, that's when you have to do something extra to get it started, right? Uduchi, it's a certain ritual called known as Uduchi. That's one of them. Um, Calling down your alcohol is one of them, all these different things. But if you're doing the casual good morning, and then one day, hey, grandma, I have a question. What was life like when you were younger, right? And you go to sleep, it'll blow your mind what you see. It'll blow your mind what you see. And when you come back here, in fact, do it and come back here and tell me what happened. Diet helps dream retention. I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. I didn't know the origin of Hoosiers. Yeah, Hoosiers are white trash. Hoosiers just poor white people, right? Because America, and they used to classify it as a problem. But America had this like massive underclass of landless whites. And then there's the whites with the lands who are the ones doing the politics, and they have this massive peasant throng, right? But there are some things that get in the way of this peasant throng being productive, such as one, slavery. We don't really need them. And then two, it's the damn 1700s. Like, what are you going to do, And so they did a lot of things to get them up to speed, because they could become a problem. So one of the things they did was, the whole spreading west. Send these MFers over there. Send them over there. Send them over there. That's why you don't get a lot of Ivy Leagues in the Midwest. You don't get a lot of Ivy Leagues in the Midwest. Okay, send them over there. And they built the land. I think Martin Luther King gave a good speech on it. They built land grant colleges where, look, take whatever land you want and then go to the school and learn how to farm. You don't even have to know how to farm. Just take the land. Go, 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 go. But they kept having kids. Their farms would fail. And there's this big, what are we going to do? Okay, send them to a war. Do something with them. Do something with them, right? So those are that's for the most part the Republican base today. Okay, that's for the most part. So you see a lot of the culture there. It's a very like, I love the military. I love going to war. I love the police. And all that shit's all fucking. That's what I need you to be. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you'd be a problem, right? That's what I need you to be. I need you to be the one that goes and does that thing and promotes it and so forth. So like if a college has like a big like a what do you call it, like an NCAA team, it's a Hoosier school. Right? You're not gonna get a Oklahoma versus Harvard game. You're not gonna get that. You get Oklahoma versus goddamn uh, Texas, a couple of Texas schools. Not Rice. You're not gonna get Rice, right? That kind of thing. So it's an interesting thing. But yeah, all the Hoosier schools play football. They play sports like that, that kind of thing. The football team, basketball, that's all Hoosier shit, right? So I do. I use candles and flowers. Beautiful. I enjoy your videos. Starlight, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. How would someone interpret a mirror being sent as a message? Interesting. Like, is there a double meaning to the Insibidi symbol for mirrors? I think there is a double meaning, but I don't know it. Right? I think there's a double meaning, but I personally don't know it because I know that for some reason there's a lot of symbols for mirror. Right? They're related to each other, so you can tell. Like, I mean, they look like mirrors, right? But I think there's something going on there that I don't know about. Um, there's more to it, but I know that mirrors are in a set like for our ancestors are a very essential altar piece. They're very important for altars. Um, so important for altars, important for shrines, important for Arishi, all those different things. Mirrors played a big. They were big. Okay, so I don't know. I just talked to my ancestors. They're always listening. Yes, absolutely, got it. My brother's younger than me, and he transitioned last year. Is he considered an ancestor now? Okay, so I appreciate you sharing that, and my heart goes out to you for your loss. In my tradition, he wouldn't be called your ancestor. Your ancestors are like parents, right? Or let me put it this way. In fact, we don't even use the term ancestor. We use the term ichie, and ichie just means like an elder, right? So I don't know the circumstances with his passing and so forth, but he is somebody that you can still keep the flame alive with and so forth, in the same way you would with ancestors, right? So it goes beyond ancestors. Family is family. Like family doesn't stop being family after death. Friends don't stop being friends because of death, right? Those things don't stop. And so it's the same thing, but you wouldn't call that person an ancestor because they're not like a parent, right? So I don't know. I'll get the book. I don't know. Yo, we have been chopping it up in here. What's going on? In Hoodoo, I have I have to wait 1 year before divining and place my altar, sir. Yeah, yeah. So in Odinala, traditionally, it's wow, damn. I didn't know they do that in Hoodoo. It's the same thing. You don't start doing afa. You don't start divining right away. You do not start doing that. You can't just okay, I want to do it, and you start doing it, right? It's something that even after like you'll do a certain ritual at the beginning, right? Um, and then after that ritual, you'll work under a diviner as an apprentice. And if you want to be like, especially like, there's different types of divination, but the divination with the ropes, the papala, that type of divination, historically, what would happen is when you did the ritual to become a dibia, right, which is imrago, working with ago, they'll take a razor, they'll do ichi marks on your head, right? They will take that same razor. I'm going to give you the whole thing just to show you what it took to become a diviner back in the day. They will cut lines on your tongue. They will pour a certain mixture on your wounds. It'll burn. On your tongue, it'll burn. And then after that, and then in your eyes, and it'll burn. And then after that, you have to stare at the sun. You just keep staring at the sun and that kind of thing. When that is done, you you begin working under a dibia, right? Under somebody who does divination. And there were few back in the day, right? But as you're working under this person, eventually, if you come back to the spot where you did your divination, your where you had your cuts, and you saw that a certain tree is growing from that spot, then that's the sign that you are also an Arubina Kondibia, which means you can do the Apabala divination, right? But modern day, all of that is very inconvenient. So usually people just work under somebody until they're ready and then they do it. But yeah, that hoodoo thing of waiting is the same thing as far as Odinella goes. And then the one I gave you is for Apabala. There's other types of divination, and that one's typically 1 to 4 years. And even after like that 1 year, within those 4 years, you start kind of doing it a little bit. It's apprenticeship. So you do it for your master, as they call them, and then once your master feels that you've learned or you're up to speed, they set you up a shop, and then you begin your own process and your own little thing, and you take on apprentices. So, but the apapala one, the one with the ropes, that one you gotta. Okay, hold on. Somebody asked a trickster. Okay, wait. How do you know if an action is by your ancestor or by a trickster spirit? Hmm. How do you know if an action is by your ancestor or by such a good question? And I want to make sure I give you the right answer. I don't think I have the answer. I just know. You know what I mean? I just know. Oh, you can ask your ancestors. That's a good one. You can ask your ancestors. So you'll say, I received this message, this and this and that. If it's for me, show me the sign. If it's not for me, show me the sign. But specifically address your ancestors. Okay? Specifically address your ancestors. Trickster spirits function in a way that we tend not to know, right? So, for example, when you're about to do something, and then all of a sudden you have that urge to go do something else and something goofy, right? Something that's not productive, something that's not rewarding you as a person or feeding you physically, spiritually, anything, right? So let's say you're on the threshold of something, all of a sudden you want to go browse on your phone. That's a damn trickster spirit. Trickster spirit is the one that takes you off your road. It goes, oh, you going this way? Okay. Hey, if you go this way, there's some, you see some shit, Then all of a sudden you go there, gotcha, that kind of thing. That's what a trickster spirit is. So when you receive a sign or a message or anything like that, just double check with your ancestors. Just ask them. Okay, I asked for money at my altar. I was gifted it. My ancestors often provide for me. Say, but then it was taken back suddenly. This has never happened. Interesting. Yeah, that's Minnie. That's very interesting. I can't say too much about that though. I saw the bulletproof dude. Did we see the same one? It was like they were protesting for Biafra, and then the police were shooting. And they just kept coming. After a while, the police just started running. I think one of them was waving a flag. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, listen, you. It's so funny. I think me and my brother were just talking about this. Like, there's a way. I'll say Africa. There's a way Africa is where it's like there's certain things that like you just see there's things you'll see and I like, man, ain't nobody gonna believe this. Like, this is not even a part of reality. Like this is nobody's gonna believe this thing just happened. But you'll see everybody has seen something that's like that's not how reality is supposed to work, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, it's believable. What's this live about? This live is Ask Me Anything. We are talking about Udinala, which is Igbo ancestral spirituality, thoughts, cosmology, philosophy, all of that, right? But ask me anything means ask me anything. Now, if the question is too ridiculous or freaky or bizarre, then we're gonna throw you out the door. Okay, question. What's ancestral more? What is the ancestral more Ndimbu? Ancestral more is just ancestral spirit, if that's what you mean, right? It's just ancestral spirit. What is the ancestral more of Ndimbu, maybe? All smiles be having a hard time kind of understanding the question because I know how you think and I know there's more to that question than what I'm hearing. But what I'm hearing is what's ancestral more, which is ancestral spirit. And then what's the ancestral more Ndimbu? The ancestral more of Ndimbu is just the more of Ndimbu. It's the same thing. But I know there's more to that question. So if you want to elaborate, I'd appreciate it. Creative Force says I was wondering the same thing. Okay, are you guys hearing something I'm not hearing? So, wait. As soon as I do a flip, your father. Your father. Show me your father flipping. I don't know if yeah, I'm not about Wogi. Sound moves water, buoyancy. Yes. Okay. I live in Nigeria. Trust me when I say nobody will take you serious. You're going to talk about ancestral talk. Ubulu, your father, you're a fool. Um, Ubulu, why'd you make two accounts to yam nonsense? Ndimbu were the first people. Duru can explain better, but the ancestral Mo designation is just what I came up with to sort out Mo that reincarnated intentionally versus Mo that didn't. Okay, maybe I'm not understanding the question. Angelica, hey, I think it's the first comment I'm seeing from you. Welcome. I don't think I'm understanding the question all the way, but you guys are all understanding it, so I think I'm fried. I think I need to go to bed. My brother shows schizophrenia or what they describe as schizoid affective disorder. Um, Here in South Africa, young men are struggling deeply with this. It's misunderstood. Yeah, there's a lot to that. There's a lot more to that than I don't think Western science is up to speed on what we're calling schizophrenia or schizoid affective disorder, right? And I say it's not up to speed because there's the claim of understanding, but the lack of cure or even treatment. Okay. All they can really do is give you medication that slow you down so much that you don't do too much. I love a video on different types of obanje, like obanje miri, obanje kuku. Okay, yeah. Aku, though, that's a good ass idea. I like that. We're just more intelligent. You guys are very intelligent. The agony aunt. Yeah, we all. Oh man, like what do you guys call it here in America, right? What do people in America call that one aunt that just does? It's funny. You watch Nigerian movies. There's this character that's almost always played by Patience. Patience, Mama G, they call her, and she's always just this like character. Everybody knows one in the village that just constant source of chaos and conflict. And there's so many movies where like maybe somebody's coming to marry her daughter, or maybe somebody's coming to marry the son, and she's just terrorizing that person. So I know you guys have an equivalent here in America anyway. Ancestors were Debia and they reincarnated as me. Wow. I had a dream that before that my maternal side, that one of my ancestors was a Debia and reincarnated as me. And Mecca, I know. we we just talked. I know. But but I'm glad you're seeing it too. You are definitely a Debia. Uh, However, I had this dream in my preteen years during my infatuation with DBS. I think you're a DBI, Mecca. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the medicine shell guy. I think you're a DBI. My brother was autistic, and as a child, he told people that birthdays before knowing. Oh, told him birthdays, he memorized. Yeah, yeah. That thing we're calling autism is very. I think we're calling autism. I'm laughing at other comments. I think we're calling autism is a very fascinating thing to look into, right? Can I ask about coming for divination? P.S. If you want me to do divination for you, reach out on Patreon if that's what you're asking. If that's what you're asking, reach out on Patreon. My mother will always give a stare for. Dude, I'm not reading your comment. You're annoying. What could it mean when you dream about family member you're sharing the same chair? Interesting. I've seen this more than once with a certain cousin. Angelica, that's super interesting. Um, I don't read dreams, but I can ask Afa. So if you're interested in me asking Afa for you, you know where to find me. But that is super interesting. All I can do is ask Afa, and Afa, the last person, we had a student volunteer, and I think her reading was really, really, really interesting and very accurate according to her. So, Duru, how is Afa? OCC done. I don't know. Muno ngwe ma madam. Amao. I don't know how to do Afa OCC. I've never even seen it done before. I just know about that it exists. In Trinidad, there are beings called Doan, mischief making, faceless spirits with backwards feet. When children aren't baptized and die before they drown, the Doan lure kids into the woods. That's interesting. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Is it a culture where women don't talk? All right. Apparently you're interested because okay, all right, so my man is spiraling out of control. Fired up today. It seems so. I'm trying to get past all the chaos though. All right. I went to Wulu Mundo and I feel I just got SoundCloud rapper con. Shit. Your ancestors will show you. Okay, cool. In dreams, you guys are doing it. You guys are doing it. I agree. Yes, if you're unclean and owe the land, do not expect favor from the land. Absolutely true. They will leave you to the tricksters until you appease and clean, bring yourself. Yeah. So another thing to understand what Diana is saying is what it is. Another thing to understand too is that if your hands are clean, you don't have to worry about trickster or anything like that, anything abnormal, anything being in your path that doesn't make sense. Okay, it's only Need will say that water before water swallows you, it must first touch your feet, right? So if you haven't dipped your feet in some BS, you should be fine. What Diana said is 100% true. Well, good answer. If you know your hands aren't clean, expect trickster spirits and lack of protection. 100%. 100%. The one of the ways to break this down is in the concept of awful, right? And so awful, let's just say keeping awful is keeping your hands clean. And awful is like a house. If you're inside of your house and it's raining, that's none of your business. You're not going to get rained on, right? If you're inside of your house and it's snowing, you're fine. It's when you step outside, you may step outside and it's a sunny day, that's fine. But once it starts raining, it's going to hit you, right? Once it starts hailing, it's going to hit you. Okay. So if you keep your awful, if you keep your hands clean, right, as Dan is saying, if you keep your hands clean, you're inside of your house. You don't have anything to worry about, right? You're fine. So there's nothing like that's why I was saying like just double check with your ancestors, but you should be okay. Once all them little funny things start happening, you need to check yourself. Where did I mess up? Where did I go wrong? What crazy thing have I done that I need to make right for? That kind of thing. Has Igbo spirituality influenced, this is such a cool question, influenced the way Igbo people practice Christianity? Is there a distinct Igbo Christianity? I think there's a distinct African Christianity, and fundamentally, it's coming from what the source that you're suspecting, right? It's coming from that. But how do I put it this way? There's okay. So for example, now in the West, there's religions over here, and then this is that things are more compartmentalized. That's just the way the West operates. For our ancestors, there's I mean, I call Odinala spirituality because it'll help people understand what I'm saying, but it's more than that. It's just life, right? So there's no distinction between spirit and life. Okay, like between like okay, this is divine. Everything's divine. It's all mixed. It's all together. It's like a soup, right? It's all one thing. It's all together. Okay, and Africans tend to approach their Christianity with that mindset. Okay, so which is not the normal way you're supposed to. It's not the way it was handed to them. but they approach it with that mindset that it's all mixed into everything. So you'll just get these, you'll never have a situation where like for example, now, like I remember we had this like organization. It was a non-religious organization, and we're just doing. This girl's like, "Why haven't we prayed?" It's like, what praying got to do with this? But that's how she sees it. It's all mixed in. It's all together. Um, Nigerians get fired all the time for saying religious stuff, because that's not the place for it, that kind of thing. So I think that's one of the ways it impacted it. Um, but I think the Christianity that was handed to the Christianity is always what it needs to be to get the job done. So there are certain things. The Christianity in Africa is almost like going out of its way not to be our ancestral spirituality, right? That's like an African Christian has a preoccupation with mermaids that other Christians don't, right? That other Christians don't. They have a preoccupation, just like American Christians have a preoccupation with like homosexuals, right? That's a big thing here. Abortion, big, 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 big in the Christianity. But other places, it's in there, but it's not the main. It's not the big talking point, right? So Christianity always is whatever its culture needs it to be, right? Its intention is to spread. That's what it's designed for. But I think one of the places that you do see it is how they still take that mentality where it's all interwoven, and they operate with that idea. Whereas elsewhere, it's more compartmentalized. And it's supposed to be compartmentalized, or else you'll be a crazy person, right? Ubulu is the trickster spirit, yo, for real. I declare all trickster spirits in this chat, oh Mumu. Oh, shit. Hold on. Okay. Uncle Rock. Ubu doesn't know what Uncle Ruckus is. So. Oh shit! All right, guys. I think we're done for today. This has been a good. This has been a good discussion, guys. As always, uno get gade. Kobla uno tiri aka ọ ga-adị n'ụwa gwadị otu a na-eke n'orie n'afọ na nkwọ ise